Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Diana, and today we're going to continue the series on the 12 houses of astrology. So before watching this video and before I confuse the shit out of you guys, make sure that you obtain your birth charts. Go to astro.com, astro theme, or cafe astrology and get your time of birth, because to incorporate the 12 houses, which are different areas of your life essentially, you need to know what time you're born. So yeah, do that first. And today we're going to be talking about the 7th house. Like, this is a house that's super popular because in this world a lot of people are trying to find our other half. We're trying to find our soulmate, somebody that we instantly connect with, and you know, people just want love in this world, honestly. So the 7th house will tell you all about your relationships and how those things go and play out. It tells you about friendships. It tells you about one-on-one partnerships, your relationship to your hairstylist, your relationship to your dentist. This is a house that is like super close to home for me because my sun is in the 7th house, my Mercury is in the 7th house, and my North Node is in the 7th house. So it's super strong house for me. Wherever your sun is, it's a luminary in your chart. Those planets are, the houses that they're in are going to be super strong. Kind of go over what the 7th house is and what it means to have planets in the 7th house. So what is the 7th house? The 7th house is the opposite of our ascendant. So our ascendant in the 1st house is this energy that we put out, but then we put things aside. The opposite of our descendant is what we attract in this world. For example, I am an Aries ascendant. So at a young age, I decided that or I learned to push off people that needed to always work with another person together. I learned to be super independent at a young age, to take care of myself, to not wait for my friends, for anybody to help me start up something, because I think that those things are stupid. That's what I thought. But at the same time, through partnerships over the years, through working with other people, through having friends and making those connections, I learned about my shadow side, which is the descendant, the 7th house. And I learned that sometimes it's okay to, you know, work with other people. And I actually enjoy it because I started discovering who I was. You know, I am a very relational person. That's what the 1st house and the 7th house opposition does. The 7th house is going to tell you about things that you push away, but over the course of meeting people in life and developing those one-on-one relationships, you come to learn a little bit more about yourself. Will have traits about other people that annoy you because you push them away at some point in your life, but at the same time, they fascinate you. That's why the 7th house, they also refer to it as the house of open enemies, because think about it. How many relationships have people gotten where they love the person initially, but then they ended up hating them because at some point during that time, probably those people did not have well-developed or healthy 7th houses. It's a Taurus ascendant, you know, realizing that their Scorpio energy like partner is too intense for them, but that's what initially drew them to them. Whether it's like a Virgo ascendant realizing that the Pisces like partner that they have is too fucking crazy, but at the same time that craziness is what drew them together. So that's kind of where the 1st house and the 7th house meet. The 7th house can be like a love and hate thing. Like, you start out loving the person, being super attracted to them for whatever reason, but then those same qualities, once you learn and, you know, get into a committed relationship with that person, they kind of start annoying you. So you need to have the 7th house is Libra. So it's all about balance. You guys need to learn how to balance things out with other people. People come into your life to teach you something, to teach you more about yourself. A healthy 7th house, you actually allow yourself to learn from other people, and to learn about those qualities that are in you but you're just pushing away. Let's go ahead and talk about the sun in the 7th house. So the sun in the 7th house, means that you are very Libra-like. So you're a very relational person. You know how to get along with people. You know how to work with other people. You know how to be super, super selfless and put your needs aside for the needs of another person. You love to increase the peace and make everybody happy, and you kind of feel something in you feels not okay and sad when your partner isn't happy. The bad thing with the sun in the 7th house is that their ego kind of gets denied until they learn about relationship boundaries, whether it's in friendships or romantic relationships. They need to learn about, you know, being selfish for themselves and taking care of their own wants and needs too. I've had a lot of relationships. Like I had a best friend, boyfriends who I let them take advantage of me. You know, I wasn't happy, or I made myself think that I couldn't be happy unless they were happy. I had a friend who was like super, super negative, and like say we would go out, if she wasn't happy and if we didn't do what she wanted, I wouldn't feel good about myself. I had a boyfriend, never again, who was really manipulative and controlling, and I kind of let myself be controlled and let him manipulate me because I wanted him to be happy. So anything he wanted, if he wanted me to, you know, not go out or not have guy friends or stay at home all the time, I would do it. No, part of me is this happy-go-lucky person that likes to go out and socialize. I have so much Sagittarius and Leo energy. I like to be the center of attention. So I put all of my personality and character aside for him. That's what the 7th house does. That's why they say that the sun is super bad, and not super bad, but it takes a long time before an ego is developed with the sun in the 7th house, because you get lost in pleasing other people. After a while, yeah, they do say that this position is great for long-term marriages and relationships, but that's when the person with the sun in the 7th house learns how to balance everything. Yeah, they're super diplomatic, understanding, and can understand both sides and can compromise, which makes it great for a marriage. But the sun in the 7th house person really needs to learn about relationship boundaries. And then, you know, they can go on and use their abilities for good. They can be psychologists, therapists, social workers, hairstylists, anything that involves a one-on-one relationship, they'll really succeed at. Okay, the moon in the 7th house, the moon is your emotions. It's your feelings. So when it's in the 7th house, you're gonna be freaking clingy as fuck with your partners. As soon as you find a partner, you're gonna think that, oh my God, I found the love of my life. He's my soulmate. And you're just gonna fall head over heels for that person. And it's kind of gonna get annoying. And then on top of that, because the moon is so phasal, everything changes so quickly, they'll break your heart. It's gonna fucking hurt because you put all of your emotions into these relationships. You feel like you need another person. And then all of a sudden you're gonna get disappointed. You're gonna find another person and you're gonna think the same thing, to the point where people are gonna be like, okay. You are a very caring person when it comes to relationships, whether it be your best friend, your business partner, your boyfriend. You want to nurture them. You probably attract a lot of people that are very needy too. You probably, if you're a girl, you date a lot of like mommy's boys, or you date like people that are like really close to their mom. Needy people is who you attract. Emotional people is who you attract with the moon in the 7th house. So let's talk about Mercury in the 7th house. Mercury is in the 7th house. This means that you have a lot of thought about relationships. Whenever you're in a relationship, you have a friendship, anything, you kind of spend a lot of time analyzing the relationship and how things are going. Mercury is learning. So you learn best when you bounce off ideas with another person. You love talking one-on-one to people, and you love listening to them. You love kind of like one-on-one conversations or therapy sessions. And that's when like you learn best, and you really get a thrill from that. Maybe tutoring is something that you're really good at, or it's through tutoring that you like work, or you learned best like on a one-on-one relationship. You're quick-witted, you're funny, you really understand the dynamics of talking to another person, because you know human psychology like really well with Mercury in the 7th house. And you're so diplomatic, so you can talk to somebody without getting them kind of pissed off. That also means that because Mercury is multiplicity, so multiple partners, maybe you don't take your, as long as you don't have anything else in the 7th house or something else counteracting it, you really don't take your relationships too seriously. I mean, the thought is there for a lot of smart people. You like people who you can have good conversations with. So let's talk about Venus in the 7th house. Venus in the 7th house, that means that you attract and you like people who are beautiful. Sometimes it's for shallowness. You probably will date really beautiful people. If not that, I mean, you'll date people who make you look better. You look better when you're in a relationship with Venus in the 7th house. Somebody who's graceful, who has like a lot of manners, a classy man, a classy woman with Venus in the 7th house. Venus in the 7th house really doesn't like when there's injustices done to people. So it really breaks their heart when their partner or their best friend or somebody is getting hurt. They want everybody to be happy, and they love when they see their partners being happy. Venus in the 7th house means that you love sharing with another person. Just being in a relationship, you're just in love with Venus in the 7th. Mars in the 7th house. Mars in the 7th house means that your relationships are kind of gonna stir drama. And yeah, maybe there's gonna be a lot of like verbal violence, physical violence. Like you're gonna feel the heat and the passion in relationships with Mars in the 7th house. You're probably gonna date people that are like very Aries, like have this physical strongness about them. If not that, people who are sassy. I had a friend, he had Mars in his 7th house, and he was a guy, and his girlfriend had Mars on the 1st house in Leo. So in that relationship, they were always freaking fighting. Maybe there's a little bit of throwing plates at each other with Mars in the 7th house, but then having great fucking aggressive sex in your relationship. You'll probably date strong-willed people. And if it's in like a friendship or a business partnership, somebody who has confidence and assurance about themselves, they just have strength all over them with Mars in the 7th house. Okay, Jupiter in the 7th house. Jupiter in the 7th house, Jupiter is expansion. So it's going to expand your relationship field. You're going to probably have a lot of best friends. You're going to have a lot of boyfriends, girlfriends. The opportunity is going to be there for you to be in relationships. You'll probably learn a lot through relationships. You love partners where you can learn from, maybe some spiritual foreigners that can teach you something, expand and broaden your mind and your horizons. You probably date some foreign people. You don't discriminate with Jupiter in the 7th house. And the more relationships that you get in, the more luck you'll have in a way, because part of you craves this knowledge and has this thirst to learn from another person. So you'll feel pretty satisfied when you have that. Saturn in the 7th house. Saturn in the 7th house. Saturn is the planet of restriction. It wants to teach us lessons, right? So with Saturn in the 7th house, you may feel for a while that you don't want a relationship because your standards are up here. But really you do want a relationship, but you want somebody who's mature, who can reach, who has security, who is stable, And it's really hard to find that nowadays, or you make it hard for yourself. It also means that because of that, you may date and marry somebody who's older, or you may marry older like after your first Saturn return. It means that, you know, maybe you will date somebody who kind of is like a parent to you in a way. Saturn in the 7th house, I guess, like once you learn your lessons that you need to with that placement, it means that the relationship is going to be stable. It means that you're going to be committed in a relationship. You're probably going to have a long ass fucking marriage. And even though that it might get boring, the security and the stability that you crave is going to be there. But you'll have to, it might take a while. Saturn is time house. So Neptune causes a big ass fucking blur in any house it is. And with Neptune in the 7th house, which is relationships, it could mean disillusionment in relationships, because you think that these people are freaking fairy-like creatures, fairy tale-like characters, and you fall in love with them, and you play this whole role in your head that they're freaking amazing and they're your Prince Charming or your soulmate or whatever. And then all of a sudden things start happening, and like it's a while before you realize like, oh shit, you're a piece of shit. and it also means that you may date people who are fucking hot messes, and you kind of like this whole I'm going to save these people role. So you attract a lot of those people. I mean, unless you have other things going on that are really good. I mean, the great thing about this placement is that you'll date these spiritual, healer, maybe even religious people if you have other things going on in your chart. Let's talk about Uranus in the 7th. I'm sorry. Yeah. Uranus in the 7th house. Uranus is a planet of this rebellious energy. So the more that somebody tells you that you shouldn't date a person, you'll probably date them anyways. Like if your family told you don't date this guy, you probably will date them. Or you date people who are freaking weird and who people don't really picture you with, but you just love it. You may marry super early and get divorced multiple times. Or you may be like, nah, relationships are not for fucking me, and decide that you don't ever want to be in a relationship. You just want to fuck the world and, you know, whoever the hell you want to do, or you want to be in an open relationship. You want the unconventional type of relationship. So you may be like long distance relationships that may work for you, because you can deal with having everything be different. You may not get attached to people with Uranus in the 7th house. So Pluto in the 7th house. Pluto in the 7th house means that your relationships are in one way or another going to transform you apart and then build you back up, or you're going to do that to your partner. You'll attract people with a lot of Scorpio who can deal with all of that death and rebirth that happens, and you probably will date those Scorpios with fucking issues, because you know you have the capability of tearing them apart and then building them back up. And then, but that's intense, and a lot of people cannot handle that. So unless you have a strong, heavy Scorpio or Plutonic person that's there, then, yeah, people run away from you. Pluto in the 7th house, you were meant to use your power in this world to heal and transform other people however you want to do it. So that was my description for the 7th house, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. The next series, or the next house I'll be talking about, is the 8th house. But I don't know if I'm ready to talk about that house, guys, because I have like 4 planets in that house too. And you know, it's like an intense, powerful house to freaking talk about. So we'll see. So yeah, anyways, guys, please like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.